Hello and welcome to this week's Google Hangout, where we take your questions and discuss amongst ourselves everything related to cars. This week we're talking about the James Bond film franchise, and who better to have as our guest than our resident 007 expert, Riswick, James Riswick.
Hello everybody, James Riswick. As my title says on our Best of Bond cars, I'm a James Bond aficionado.
And I am Mark Takahashi, automotive editor. And so, over the last couple of weeks, James has been compiling a series of Bond-related features, which include the best and worst cars from the movies. With the latest 007 film Skyfall hitting theaters, and this year marking Bond's 50th anniversary, this subject has certainly been getting a lot of attention. So, today we're going to be talking about James Bond cars and information from the past films. Bond drove Bentleys, according to the first novels, yet we associate Aston Martin with the super spy now. How did that happen, James?
Well, yeah, as you said, James Bond in the novels drove Bentleys, except he drove old pre-war Bentleys when Bentleys were actually cool. But then come Goldfinger, the movie that James Bond really exploded onto the scene in, they needed a new car. It has the ejector seat, of course. It has the tire shredders that come out of the wheels, and so on, to the point that the Aston Martin DB5 in the film became as big of a star as Sean Connery. And I'm not, that seems like hyperbole, but it's actually true. This was known as the most famous car in the world. They made one specifically for promoting the film, and it went all over the world, both for promoting Goldfinger as well as the next Bond film that it appeared in, Thunderball. And it really was as big of a deal as the stars of the film, and it's a lot easier to schlep around an Aston Martin around than having to pay Sean Connery or one of the other stars. And to this day, it remains one of the most famous cars in the world. The Aston Martin DB5 has now, with Skyfall, going to appear in 6 different films. After Thunderball, he drove a different Aston Martin, and let's see here. I brought visual aids today.
Wow.
This is an Aston Martin DBS, the original one that appeared in 1969's On Her Majesty's Secret Service. But really, and there was another one in the 80s with Living Daylights, back with gadgets again, but the DB5 reappeared in the Pierce Brosnan film sort of as Bond's personal car, and then in Casino Royale, to explain why this is his personal car, he won it in a poker match. And maybe the trailer says why he has a DB5 now, again, why it's going to be, but I don't know because I haven't seen it. So, strict embargo because I hate spoilers.
All right, all right. Well, let's see. I mean, there are obvious product placements that come into play in these Bond films. Were there any cars you thought would make a great Bond car, but didn't make it into the movies?
It's a good question. One, you love the Jaguar E-Type. Austin Powers drove, that was his Jaguar. And that seems like a perfect car, iconic for the time.
Yeah, I mean, I always thought it should be a British car because he's the ultimate British Secret Service agent. But yeah, Jaguars are always something, and I can't imagine him tooling around, Morocco in an MG or an Austin Healey Sprite. That would just be silly.
One thing is we've talked James Bond, with the exception of those 3 Brosnan movies where he drove BMWs, such as my little BMW Z3, BMW 750 IL with yeah. There's missiles on these. I won't fire them. And then the Z8. Those are the first foreign cars that were officially James Bond cars. But he certainly drove lots of foreign cars in the films. They just weren't his own.
All right. Well, we're getting close to the end of this Google chat here, so let's go into the lightning round. Just shoot out. Some of these might be questions. Some of them might just be your personal opinion. So. Okay. Best Bond car, go.
The Lotus Marine car. The DB5 is the one everybody thinks of, but submarine car, okay? And it's a Lotus Esprit.
All right, best Bond, go.
Best Bond. My favorite Bond is Roger Moore.
Best Bond girl.
Best Bond girl. Um, hmm. I'm gonna go with Mrs. Bond, Tracy. Tracy Bond from Honor Majesty's Secret Service.
So Adam Bernhardt asks, "What's your favorite Bond girl name?"